Hello, it's Yvonne from the Fabric Hut. Welcome to the studio. Today, I'm excited to show you this project we've got going here using the Morning Mist mini strips. So this little pack of strips is so fun. The colors are fabulous. They're just a whole bunch of fun. I'm going to be giving you a number of different projects you can do with these. But today I thought I would start with a real basic, a mug rug and a placemat. Now, I don't know about in your area, but in my area, jelly roll rugs are a big deal right now. They're magnificent. But I'm a little afraid to commit to such a big project with a technique that I've never tried before. So we're going to try the jelly roll rug, that's easy for me to say, technique to make this wonderful little mug rug. So I figured it out that you can make one mug rug and one real long placemat, or I love to put my 9x13 casserole dishes and things on this out of one of these packs, or you can make two of these and a little bit shorter placemat. So you can play with it, see what you like. If you want a table runner, just keep going, make a table runner. So many things, but 140 strip pack will do a whole bunch. So let's go to the sewing machine and let me show you the steps to make this. How cute that is. And so easy. And, you know, it's one of those things that I think this took me less than an hour to make. So it's going to be a fun project. So let's go to the machine and get going. Like I said, we're going to be playing with the Morning Mist collection, making our little mug rug. I just think this is the cutest thing. I've always wanted to make a jelly roll rug, but I was afraid that I wouldn't enjoy the process. So I didn't want to take on something as big as a full jelly roll rug. So when I got this little pack, I thought, you know what? That is a great way to try the technique without having to commit to a whole rug. So that's what I did. So here's our little collection. It is so phenomenal. Oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. This little Morning Mist mini strips from the Fabric Hut. Anyway, so much fun to play with. So let me tell you what I did here. This little mug rug is 10 strips. Comes with 40. So I could either make 10 of these little mug rugs out of one pack, not 10, 4 of the little mug rugs out of one pack, or what I'm going to try today, now since I've made this, is I'm going to take the other 3/4 of a pack and I'm going to make a placemat. So I'm going to just continue going with 30 strips instead of 10 strips, and it's going to end up a little more than 16 inches long. So let me show you how we're going to do that. Okay, to start with, I took, you know, that edge of batting that you get after you're done with the quilt, and it's not big enough to do another quilt with, but it's too big to throw away because you feel guilty if you throw it away. So I took all those little scraps and I cut some little batting straps. If I were doing a jelly roll rug, I'd probably invest in one of those pre-cut rolls. But because I'm only doing a little short strip like this, I thought I can do that by hand. So it is 8.5 by 2.25. Want a little bit narrower than your strip. Now the reason I did 8.25 is because I did this frayed binding on the edges. And so I wanted to have a little bit of an edge there that doesn't have batting, because I don't want my batting in my frayed edge. Now, if you wanted to do a finished edge, you would, instead of fraying it, you'd put a binding strip across that edge and it would still be just as lovely. But I didn't want to do that. I just wanted a little ragged edge. So start with your strips wrong side up and put your little, center your little batting strip. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm kind of using my finger on each end to see if I'm centered. And now this is the tricky part. I have my little basket of clips here. I love my Wonder clips. Okay, so you're going to fold it over about a quarter of the way. Just kind of finger press it and then fold it in to where they match in the middle. Does it have to be exact? No, it doesn't. Do you want them right on top of each other? No, you don't. You want a little bit of space there, just like that. And then we're going to just fold it over one more time, like this. See how easy that was? I'm going to do it a few more times for you. And then I kind of just grab this end in one hand and bunch it up like that. However you want to do it, doesn't matter. Put a clip there, straighten it back out. I use my finger to make sure everything's pulled back down in there. And another clip. This is one of those projects that is almost a mindless project. It's after you've finished a big quilt and you don't really want to do much brain work anymore. This is just a really nice way to do it. So I used 3 clips. You can see where my batting stops right there. I have that little lump. Okay, so I sat in front of the TV and did almost the whole pack with just one show. It didn't even do the whole hour long of the show. So one of my little nighttime things that makes me feel like I'm doing something, but I'm not working very hard. Okay, center it, fold it in about a quarter of the way, fold it in a quarter of the way, close but not on top of each other, and fold it over. Hold it, kind of wrap it around yourself to get a spot. They are short enough that even if it comes apart, it is so easy to put it back together and get it straightened out. So right there, and clip. And see how I'm just kind of making sure it's still tucked in there. And clip one more. This is one, like I say, one of those projects that precision is not necessarily that important. Do you want it close? Absolutely. But does it have to be exact? No, it does not. Okay, those are about centered. Fold over, fold up, fold them down, fold it together, bunch up one end, and clip the other. Now you see how this is pulled up? Just takes a swipe of the finger, and you'll adjust that as you get ready to sew. I got a few strings there, doesn't really matter, but I'll just tuck them in. This pack of fabrics I've been packing around and moving around and playing with, so I have a little bit of fray on them. They did not come frayed, but I've been playing with them and designing some things for y'all for about a week and a half now. So this is the first project. There's other ones coming. Okay, there we go. Last one, because I did all the other ones, like I said the other night. Oop, that's not even. There we go. In, and whoop, over. Yeah, just however you can get it to work for you without working too hard. Okay. Alrighty. Now, I did piece or sew some of these already. I didn't think you'd want to watch me sew 30 of them, so I did most of them. I'm going to set my basket off to the side here. So you can see I have some still stuck in the machine here. The first step for the sewing is to sew just right down the center with a straight stitch. No fancy stitches. You don't have to use a really tiny quilting stitch. I have my machine set for dead center and about a 2.4 inch stitch. 2.4, it's not inch, but 2.4 stitch. And now as I come up to that little ledge here where my batting stops, it wants to bog down a little. So I just reach around the back and give it a little pull. I'm going to stop here and check and make sure you're seeing what I'm doing well. So I'll be right back. Okay, I hope that's better. I closed up my little light so you can see my needle better, I hope. Okay, so as it gets stuck on that little hill, just kind of give it a little tug from the back from one of the ones you've already done. Goes up and over. And as you're coming up, just take your clips off. Keep it as together as you can. If it's not exactly centered, it'll be okay. But, you know, I'm centering mine between the two sides of my presser foot. You can put on a walking foot if you'd like. My machines string really well without it. The other thing, because you have so many layers here, I would put on a larger needle. I would put on like a denim needle, a 116 would be a good one. That's going to give you enough oomph to get through all these layers without skipping any stitches. If you have a Janome machine, they recommend the purple needle. Alrighty, so and you just keep going, fitting them in one at a time until you get all 30 of them done. I'm only going to sew a couple here because you know how to sew a straight line and just go all the way through like that. Nope, let me cut it here. Did you see how, as I went through this, pulled just a little bit? Well, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything because I'm going to clip up to it anyway, so it's going to be fine. And I'm going to take my little gadget and just pop them all apart here so we can move on to the next stage. See, I did quite a few here. Okay, so I took mine and divided them out into two piles. This fabric line, the Morning Mist fabric line, has some definite light ones and darker ones. And so I just divided them out and you end up with 15 in each stack of lights and darks. And there we go. Okay, so now it's the next step. Let me realign here, get the machine ready, and I'll be right back. All right, when I was making this sample, I pre-planned it and carefully laid it out in a colorful pattern that I liked. I did a dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, and then I got a medium over here to finish the edge. And then I thought, you know what, I worked really hard to get it the way I like, but it really doesn't matter. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have two stacks, a dark stack and a light stack. And I'm going to take one of each. So you're going to change your settings on your machine from a straight stitch to a zigzag stitch. And the default on my machine for a zigzag is a 4.5, which means dead center. And the width is 3.0. I'm going to increase my width to, decrease my width to 2.4. And I'm going to increase the zigzag up to a 6. So I want a nice wide zigzag, but close together. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one dark and one light. And you are going to put the folded edge of one to the doubled edge of the other. Just kind of butt them up next to each other, like that. Now for this project, we don't necessarily have to start all the way at the end. We're going to start kind of here in the middle. However, if you get up in there, it's easy to take it out later. So don't worry about that. I'm going to just put it in. I'm going to line up, use my stiletto so you can see, I'm going to line my seam up with the center of my presser foot so that the zigzag of the machine is equal on both sides of the stitch. Okay, I thread in the back, and then I'm just going to zigzag down it, and see how I'm kind of pushing them together as I go? You don't want them overlapped, but you do want them nested together. Just like that. And see how easy that works? Then I'm just going to take another dark and another light. Now, see how it twists? Sometimes they twist, sometimes they curve. You want to make sure that the curve, if they're both curving this way, you're going to end up with a wonky, out of shape thing. So if one's curving this way, flip this one over so it's curving out and it naturally pulls them together. Okay, so we're going to, and then I'm going to just, oh, now look at what just happened there. I apparently ran out of bobbin thread right there. Well, it figures, doesn't it? So I usually have a little container here of bobbins. I pre-wind my bobbins. These are little ponytail holders that you get in the baby department for little hair. So I can pre-wind them, put one of those on, and it keeps them from unraveling in my container. So I'm quick and easy change here. Sorry about that, but you know, life happens, doesn't it? And how many times have you been sewing along and run out of bobbin and go about 800 miles farther without a bobbin in it? I've never done that. Well, except for today and 150 times before. Okay, let's go back to centering it and go. Now we are sewing with thread. And I'm just going to go off the edge because it'll be easy to clip that. And then tuck in the next one. And just keep going. And you can, if you want to, make a pattern and make sure everything is exactly how you want it. You can stop after each one and add your next color on so that you're following your pattern. Works just fine. But then you're having to stop and start over and over. And, you know, I like instant gratification. So we could just cut it there. And then we have a dark, add a light. Oh, I'm getting a lot of thread here. Let's clip up some of this thread, get it out of my way. Okay, there we go. And add another light one. Again, we're adding the doubled edge to the folded edge. Like that. Whoop, I'm not lined up. There we go. Line it back up. Up and over that lump. See how mindless that is? It's awesome. Now, if you are doing them two at a time instead of one at a time, you would make a whole bunch of these twos and come back and add a double one, putting the dark next to the light each time. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to continue with these, and then I'll be back to show you the next step. Okay, as I'm sewing, I came up with one more thing I wanted to tell you. Do you see how I'm holding it? I'm putting my two center fingers on either side of it, my pointer fingers on top, and I'm kind of making a fence with these two lower fingers so that they automatically stay together. I don't have a whole bunch of wiggling, and you can put it up or down wherever you're comfortable with it. And it just is kind of holding everything together for me automatically to where I'm not worried about them coming apart and having a hole in between, because it has to fit through that little funnel in my fingers. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to point out, since we're going to just talk some more. If I were doing the jelly roll rug or something with longer pieces than these 10-inch pieces, there is a new gizmo out on the market that makes you don't have to fold them like I showed you. But with these little pieces, this works so well. You don't need any other expense. Why add more expense to your quilt when you can do it this way and it works fine. There are certain things that I will spend extra money on, like the clips. Oh, those are a lifesaver for me. I love getting my clips, and you can get those through the Fabric Hut. But some of the gadgets, they're really cute. And if you were going to make a whole bunch of jelly roll rugs, I might consider investing in that tool. But, you know, my clips do just fine, and I could buy another yard of fabric or so with the cost of that little gadget. Some of the gadgets are so fun, but then you find, so know that when I'm sharing with you, I'm going to share you things that I find very, very valuable. I'm not going to try and upsell you with a bunch of stuff that is a, use it once, really enjoy it, but then never use it again thing. So I will be upfront with you that way. Okay, so I only have a few more, so I'll finish them up and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so I have all my 2s sewn together. I'm going to go on into doing the 4s now. Again, still keeping the rounded edge of a light to the opened edge of a dark. And off we go. One other thing, I saved out the last two pairs, and I'll show you why. This one's not going to be necessary, but we're going to use this one at the very end. So we'll save that right there because we do need to do it. Okay, now this is where you've got to start playing with figuring out how they go together. I'm sewing this way with the white here. There we go. I think. Nope. I'm doing this way. Okay. It really actually doesn't make that big of a difference, but we'll get all of our 4s sewed together, then we'll make them 8s, then we'll put them all together, and we'll be done in no time. There we go. Okay, well, so we're going to have one separate one, but that ends up working with this one here in a minute. So, let's see. Let me get this right here. I am doing that way. There we go. And again, I'm not doing any planning color-wise on this one. I'm just grab and go. Just one light, one dark. So I may end up with some things close together, but you know what? That's okay. All right. All Alrighty, so I'm going to take a moment and sew all of these 4s together, and then I'll be back to show you what to do with these last 3. Okay, so I have it almost done. I had these 3 left, and you know, I didn't want to put this one here because that one's going to go on the end, and I didn't like those together. Then I also got to looking, and this is getting really long. That is almost 18 inches long, which to me is a little bit too long for a placemat. So I'm going to just take this toozy and pretend it doesn't exist. And you know, I might do the same with this one, but I have this one that is a little bit better match here. So I'm going to use that one for my end. So I'm going to sew these 2 together. One last one. And I want to show you the trick on the end. Okay. Now, we've been sewing them with the putting the solid end next to the open end. But if we do that, we have this opened end on the outside edge. And I really don't want that. So all I'm going to do is flip this one around and put the 2 open ends together. And once you zigzag it, nobody's ever going to know the difference. And that gives you a nice finished edge on the outside. So it takes a little bit more finagling to get them in there nice, but it's not that difficult. With a nice big stitch, even if they're not exactly together, it's going to work. And there we go. Now, like I say, this is kind of a big placemat, but I like it. The other thing this is really great for is a 9x13 pan when you put it on your table. This does not have Insulbrite in it, but it does have multiple layers of batting and lots of fabric. So if it's not boiling hot piping out of the oven, I think this is going to do just fine on your countertops. You're not going to burn anything. So, okay, so we've kind of got the big piece now. See, the edge is a little bit, I'm not going to worry about that too much, although I may shorten out this little section right here just a little with my scissors. But remember, we're going to cut it. And when we trim that and fray it, all of that unevenness is going to go away. So I'm really not, you know, the ones that are 1/4 of an inch or more out, I'll trim up. But other than that, it's all good to go. All right. So remember how I told you that the zigzagging, when it goes beyond, we're going to, in a minute, take that out. But before we do that, we need to stay stitch this down so that when we trim it, it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm finding my batting edge right there. It is about the width of my foot away from it. So I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to go back to my normal straight stitch seam and just go kind of right along that little ledge. I'm going to back stitch. Now this does a couple of things. It's going to stop our fray right there, but it also prevents these from coming apart and separating out into your placemat. So we'll just go just like that right down the line. This really is a little bit long. We probably could have gone a little bit shorter and maybe made a second. Let's see what it would happen if we made a second one. A second, do this, and then we would have 3 more rows that I toss on the floor. So 1, 2, 3. So we could have made 2 mug rugs and still had a sizable placemat. So you just play with what you like, what works at your house. So, okay, got that one done. We'll go down this one real quick. Can you hear the change in the sound of my machine as it hits the part that has batting in it? It works just a little bit harder, and that's okay. It's not going to hurt the machine, nor is it going to change up what we're doing. Okay. Now, for a really good fringe, you do need to take this section of the zigzag away. So just run your seam ripper under it, and you can just, it's that easy because it was a nice big zigzag. Okay, and once you get all of those, I'm not going to do them all because you understand how to undo. Once you get those all done, you can take, that one's a little long again. I'll get over here where I can turn it. Get that one trimmed down a little bit. Okay, and then you're just going to come through and you're going to snip to within an 1/8 inch of your seam, your line here. You don't need to go all the way to it. And I think I put like 5 little snips in each little section. The seam that goes right down the center, I clipped right on that seam, and then 2 on each side of it. And that's how I did it. And I just sat around in the evening one night and just like clipping a rag rug right up to that seam, but not through it. Just like that. And once you get them all cleaned or all clipped, you can just take your fingernails and do that, and it frays it. And of course, it's going to fray out more every time you wash it. So there is your placemat and your mug rug. Let's see, I have a mug here, mug rug. It had my morning coffee in it. So mug rug with room for a muffin or a bagel or whatever it is you like to eat. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can always email me at customercare@thefabrichut.com. Glad you could join me today.